Hello and welcome to RCSI Perdana Junior Cycle 1 Medical Humanities session for 2016-2017. I'm Professor Anthony Cummins from the Department of Family Medicine, and I'm going to have two sessions with you looking at what medical students can learn from poetry, music, and films and novels. You may think, well, what's that got to do with medicine? You can actually learn quite a lot. So I'm going to show you some poems, read you some poems, and we'll discuss some poems, and also play you some songs, the lyrics of which we'll interpret together. Look at some excerpts from videos of films, and also look at some short stories and novels to see what messages there are for helping to shape how doctors conduct consultations, make diagnoses, communicate with their patients verbally and non-verbally. It's all very relevant and all very useful. Let's look first of all at a poem called What the Doctor Said. This is a poem by Raymond Carver. Raymond Carver was an American poet and short story writer whose life is referenced at the end of this session. Raymond was an excellent short story writer, though not well educated and never finished a university degree as such, but he had a natural talent which was nurtured by those with an interest in literary matters along the course of his life. But he died quite young, aged 50, and he died from lung cancer. And this is the poem that he wrote about a week or two after he was given the news of his diagnosis. The lung cancer he had was inoperable and effectively untreatable. He was age 50 in a second marriage, had been previously a very heavy drinker, though now was completely abstinent from alcohol. He saw his decision to become and remain abstinent from alcohol as a major period in his life, a major milestone, as if there were two lives, the one before stopping alcohol and the one after. And he felt energized with a new lease of life, a new focus. When you think about a 50-year-old man receiving such bad news, you wonder, how do doctors tell patients such diagnosis? How do they tell them that they have an inoperable lung cancer? How do patients accept this news? Both of these are very variable, both the doctor in giving the bad news and the patient in receiving it. This is what Raymond Carver remembered from What the Doctor Said. He said it doesn't look good. He said it looks bad, in fact, real bad. He said, I counted 32 of them on one lung before I quit counting them. I said I'm glad. I wouldn't want to know about any more being there than that. He said, are you a religious man? Do you kneel down in forest groves and let yourself ask for help? When you come to a waterfall with mist blowing against your face and arms, do you stop and ask for understanding at these moments? I said, not yet, but I intend to start today. He said, I'm real sorry, he said. I wish I had some other kind of news to give you. I said, amen. And he said something else I didn't catch. And not knowing what else to do, and not wanting him to have to repeat it, and me to have to fully digest it, I just looked at him for a minute, and he looked back, and it was then. I jumped up and I shook his hands with this man who had just given me something no one else on earth had ever given me. I may have even thanked him, habit being so strong. Thank you. I'd like us now to discuss, well, first of all, for you to reflect on this poem and think about what does it mean? And why did he write this poem? Why did he write it with those words? Why did he choose to say, I jumped up and shook hands with this man who'd just given me something no one else on earth had ever given me. I may have even thanked him, with habit being so strong. Why did he write that? Why did he think that this man had given him something nobody else had given him? He'd just given him this awful news that his life was going to end in a pretty short time. He had inoperable lung cancer with multiple, this may well have been secondary lung cancer, in other words, a so-called metastatic deposit, a distant deposit, so the cancer may have been elsewhere, or it may have been the primary cancer just spread throughout the lungs. It sometimes does do that. But whatever, there was no hope for Raymond Carver. And also reflect on how the doctor gave him the news by saying, it doesn't look good. He said it looks bad, in fact real bad. I counted 32 of them in one lung before I quit counting them. What do you think about that perhaps blunt or direct way of telling a patient this imminent, life-changing diagnosis? Okay, these are the kind of things we will be discussing in class. We'll have a few more brief videos for you, but I'd like you to look at all of these before we start class. I'm going to put a notice on the forum to this effect. Okay, see you on the 4th of October. Bye.